y'all, that's right. You know what time it is. It's time for the Sugar Creek Forest Build-Along 2012. I got my hand on the fire, putting the fire to the steel. Come on, Sugar Creek Forest, won't you tell me what's the deal? Alright.
And especially knife team that's doing the Sugar Creek Forge knife build along 2012. Just a quick video here today, tutorial on filing the profile that you've done and showing you some tips and tricks. The material that we're working on, this cold rolled annealed 1095, is not hard material to work. It can feel like it if your tools are dull, like you have a dull hacksaw blade or a dull file, then it kind of seems like it is, but really it's easy to work. And I want to encourage you, I've been getting some questions. Real quick, this handle material that we're using is mesquite, and some people wonder, what's that little plastic thing in the kit? That's a cord end, kind of, it trims out nicely the end of your lanyard and it glows in the dark. Thank you very much, USA Knife Maker Supplies, for providing those for us. Also, I've been asked about, again, power tools. Hey, here's the deal. This build along is about building a knife using hand tools. We're going to use a drill to drill through. You know, we're not gnawing through it with our teeth or something or getting ridiculous, but we want to make the knife in the build along with hand tools. Now, it's yours. Once you got those parts, they belong to you. You do whatever you want, and I'm not getting after anyone, and none of our team should holler at anyone if they, you know, use power tools or something like that. But we do really have some nice prizes, and I want it to be fair for everyone. And what we're going to be looking at is, you know, people who make this by hand. You know, we want to look at the knives. It's not a serious judging. I mean, we're going to have 4, 5, 6 real, you know, some are going to be funny prizes and things like that. But we want it to feel like there's an even playing field because some of the prizes are actually really nice. And so anyway, word to the wise, that's what we're doing. And don't feel you have to rush. Just follow along. You know, when I do something, then you do it. And then if you have a question or something like that, certainly ask. But my encouragement is, don't feel like you have to rush through this. We've got plenty of time. The materials went out a little later because we were waiting on them from the suppliers. And so we're not going to like suddenly end it and you haven't had enough time to work or something like that. It's fun, relax, chill out, learn some new techniques. And like some I'm going to show you today. All right, let's jump in and look at some filing. Let me start by making a quick comment about hacksaw blades. If you're having a little trouble cutting your profile with a hacksaw blade, you want this blade, which is 24 teeth per inch. It's for cutting metal, and it's made by Lennox. And it's for medium metal, as you can see, and it'll cut through this very, very easily if you use a blade like this. You can see it was $2.69, not expensive, and it's going to really help you. So here's the first filing tip. We want to put a handle on our file. It's going to make it a lot more efficient and easy to use. So you can see if I'm just holding the file like this and trying to work it against material, I don't have a lot of leverage or control of the file, and it can be kind of hard on my hands, create some hot spots and just be uncomfortable. What I've done is just made a little handle here, and the tang just fits in the back just like that. You can see it just kind of comes out real easy, no problem whatsoever. And I just made this out of a piece of branch off of a tree in my backyard. And you can see if you have a handle like that that you can hold, it fills the hand, a lot easier to control, and you don't feel like you got to bear down on the material too hard. And so I would suggest you either buy one or make one. The cost of this was 0 cents. Stick it on the file. Just take something, give it a little bit of a wrap, whack. You don't have to hit it too hard. Here's a closer look at my handle. It's just a piece of a branch cut off a tree from my backyard that was dry. I drilled a hole down through and then worked the drill back and forth to make the top of the hole wider. And then I just rubbed some floor wax on it as just kind of an easy finish and easy on the hands. Now let's set up our jig for some profile filing. You can see I just have the knife pinched in, and the C-clamp underneath it is just so that the blade, when it's pushed down, doesn't come off of the board. It's going to look like this. You can see the C-clamp isn't clamping the blade. So I've got this set up in my office just on a little bench here, and I'm going to sit down on top of this. I have this file card that I bought at a flea market for $1, and you just use it like this to keep your file clean from being clogged with metal. If you don't have a file card, you can use an old toothbrush. Now I'm going to start filing against the profile, and as you watch, I'm filing at a little bit of an angle and moving forward. And if you notice, I'm not rubbing the file back and forth. I'm only cutting in the direction that the file was meant to cut in. This is going to make sure that my file stays sharper longer and keeps from getting clogged. And I'll just continue carefully filing like this on the whole profile, pausing every once in a while to brush my file a little bit and keep it sharp. And then just continue just carefully. I'm not in a hurry. I'm just pushing the file and it's cutting real nice. As I get down to close to my profile, I'm going to actually start draw filing, which is just holding the file at a little bit of an angle and just pulling it perpendicular almost to the work. This isn't pure draw filing, but just a little bit on the bias. As you can see in a short time, that I've filed right down to the edge of my pattern, and it's nice and smooth. I don't have any divots. Now, I also have this half-round mill bastard file that's a double cut file, so it's a little bit more aggressive than the other file, and it's rounded, and this is nice for using in curves. So I've got the jig set up like this, and you can see my handle is curved a little bit, and I'm going to start pulling this file also. This one actually can cut in both directions, but I'm going to still maintain one direction as much as possible. Here, just taking care of the handle end, just going smoothly, running the file and curving it over. And this is what it looks like cutting the choil. I'm using the edge of the file and cutting down through it. So here I want to make sure that I'm keeping the file perpendicular to the work, that it's straight, that it's not canting to one side, and then just carefully cut down through and make this square cut. And that's what it looks like. This square cut for the choil is exactly what we would do if we were making a lockback knife and we were cutting a lockback, the notch for a bar. And you can see I've left a little bit of extra steel on because, again, I'm going to adjust that once I get the handle materials on to feel good in the hand. That square choil also would be the kind of notch that we would cut for certain kinds of guards that we would put onto a knife and silver solder or pin on. So it's a great technique to learn how to do that and keep it square. Just to recap a couple of important points. Remember that files really are designed to cut in one direction. This single cut file is called a single cut because it has its grooves going like this across the file, and it's meant to cut like this. If I file like this, back and forth, dragging the file back and forth like that, it's going to dull the file and also clog the file, and it's not going to cut very sharply. And that's the problem with a lot of older files. People have done that to them, and then they don't cut very well. Also, I'm filing like this, kind of at an angle, starting off like that, and then when we're ending up, we're in essence doing kind of a modified, biased draw filing, which is, if you can see the angle that I'm holding this at, it's kind of tough here in the camera, but the file is angled a little bit like this, and then I'm really just pulling straight back along the knife, just like that. And it doesn't seem like that would cut, but it's very aggressive. At first, it kind of takes a while to get it where the steel's ready for it to bite in. And then when you finish up, what you have is a very, very smooth profile like that. If you can see how it's very smooth, all the lines are running in one direction. There's not lines this way and then lines this way. I finish up, they're all smooth like that. So when we go to sand this knife, it's going to sand very easily. I'm also going to show you how to use that fixture, and we're actually going to do the same thing. We're going to hold it actually like this, and then we're going to draw file down through here, and we're going to draw file the bevels into this knife, and you're going to be surprised how fast it works and aggressive. You're actually going to have to be careful. It works so fast. I did this whole filing profile in 20 minutes. And I did it in 20 minutes, taking my time, getting up to move the camera, turn the camera on, turn the camera off, things like that. So I actually could have done it a little faster. So believe me, this isn't a long operation. I wasn't racing or anything like that. And you know, if you take 4 times that long, that's fine. Just do it right. And if you can see, I have filed carefully so that I filed right down to the lines on my paper there. You can see right here the paper folded up a little bit, but you know, if you look carefully, it was easy for me just to file carefully right down to the line, and I have this knife profiled, including that little choil there, exactly as I had it drawn. And so that's just, you know, being careful and then ending up with that kind of a draw filing or bias draw filing stroke. And again, that is not difficult. Just take your time, practice, and you'll be able to do that very easily.
It's time for the Sugar Creek Forge Build Along 2012. I got my hand on the fire.